Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Juniper has made her way to a farmhouse while her companions are in the middle of a heist. Juniper objected to Pidwick's obsession with branding and left him with her horse. Reginald set up his heist crew and is searching for the target while disguised as Fluffy McSnugglekins. And Quinny has stormed the docks in search of a traitor. Can our heroes survive their conflicting duties and mixed messages? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
So Ryan as Reginald, as Quinny, as Fluffy McSnugglekin, the horrible, screechy, mouth sewed shut monstrosity, who was clearly inspired by Psycho Mantis and also of Winifred, the villain from Hocus Pocus's boyfriend, played by Doug Jones. Combination of the two, praise be. You are crouching in that guise behind a stack of crates, amongst many stacks of crates that are being moved by a bunch of flesh golems, generally guarded by a bunch of scurvy Navy fighter types, and the Bonecrushers just arrived, led by your body, driven by Quinny. So honestly, like as heists go, not the best, but you do have the benefit of the magical eye, which also, like, I think you have a brief sensation in your nose of kind of like, it's almost throbbing a little bit, and you realize that normally when you have kooky powers, it's because you snorted something. And you didn't have to this time, and it's like oddly unsettling. It's almost like having a sneeze that doesn't quite go.
Yeah, and I'm not bleeding. It's kind of majestic. I'm like, oh, this is why people like magic.
Yes, it's all, lots of lessons are being learned. None about the value of friendship, but like so many about the value of not snorting gems up your nose. And using blood magic. So, looking around, Ryan, basically, I'm going to kind of ask you what you want to do on each of these phases. You can pick from your skills. You can also just tell me what you want to do, and I'll tell you which skill to roll for. But basically, you can get the very, very faint trace of this magical stamp that isn't giving off very much mystical energy, but does have just enough for the enchantment to work on the... Like, this is very much the fucking magic eye of enchantments. It's very, very low level, but enough that you can barely pick it up. It is very close to the ship. It is one of the more recently offloaded crates and is kind of like on the edge of the dock. So you have to get pretty deep to get to it. You also can't tell the exact box, but you can tell the general vicinity. And the closer you get, the easier it'll be to identify that particular box. So you got a couple options. You can order Bud and Guy to just go grab that box and hope that they get the right one, or you can get closer to try and identify it. So what do you want to do?
I've got to stealth closer. I can't trust this team to do anything.
And something else I should ask, aside from obviously I know the Bone Shakers are a pretty considerable threat to you, but of all of the things that are going on right now, what can you rank them kind of 1 to 3, 1 being the scariest? What are what groups are you the most concerned about, and which ones are you the least concerned about?
I feel like Reginald's been in enough combat situations that he could actually do a pretty reasoned order. And I think like number 1 is flesh golems, because he can't just have them turn on him or they get busted without the prize. So like focus 1 is prize. Big fears are like flesh golems. The Navy guys, we already have the Dockmaster on our side, so I don't even think they make the list. So I feel like it's flesh golems, Bonecrushers, the team themselves fucking something up. And Bonecrushers and the team themselves are pretty close. That's going to be a moment-by-moment number shift.
Understood.
I feel like that's a pretty constant fear.
Yeah.
I mean, who knew these unseasoned urchins wouldn't be up to the task? Okay, so you can hear the golems shifting boxes around. There's a couple. We'll say there are 3 teams of 2 golems moving crates off the ship. 2 of those teams are currently active stacking boxes. Do you attempt to sneak past them or sneak around them? Going around them will take longer, but is safer. Sneaking past them is more dangerous, but faster.
He's going to trust this Quinny body to be real sneaky. So he's going to try to just go past him. He just wants to dance around. But he will gesture the team to go around the safer way.
Great.
I think he'll actually ring of invisibility himself, because that feels like the smartest way to do this now that he's in.
Sure.
Because the Dockmaster's not watching us directly, right? She's keeping golems there. Like, he'd wait till there was a moment where he could...
She's accepted that, I think she's made the conscious decision she's going to accept a bribe to let a crate off the dock early enough. She's really paying very, very little attention. She's like a doctor at a duel in Hamilton, just looking the other way, being like, I'm here for plausible deniability, don't mind me.
Great. Ring of invisibility, send the crew the safest way. He goes fast.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check, please. I would have given you disadvantage, but you're invisible, so now you're just at straight...
Normie stealth.
Yeah.
Yes. 31.
Whole new world, baby. Okay, so with the 31, the nice thing about being Reginald trapped in a Quinny body is you spent tons of times around shambling necromantic monsters. And he's spent lots of time being stealthy. So the combination of the two means you can kind of suss out when it seems like they're kind of at their most distracted, and dart forward, fully power sliding under a box they're carrying, like you're a car drifting under a jacked up truck in the Fast and the Furious movies, and you find yourself halfway to the box. You can now see it glowing far more clearly.
Great.
So that'll be the end of your turn. Quinny as Reginald / Tyler. You are observing, looking around. You don't... Actually, can you roll me a perception check? What am I doing? What am I doing just telling you what you see?
That's a nat 1 on a perception check.
You look around and you do not see Fluffy.
I'm gonna... Sorry, if I may. It's fine if you want to move on. Can I spend my inspiration?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Because I feel like getting a good lay of the land is important here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good use of inspiration. That's an 8.
Oh!
Yeah, it's all so much clearer to me now.
Yeah, you see a button that says push to win game.
I push it. Tom,
win the
I push
game!
button.
It's so good.
But you're
you won it.
still on the docks.
Yeah, it was a game of button push. So you did win the game, but sadly not the game of Dungeons & Dragons that we're playing. So yeah, you look around, and I think it's whereas you've ordered the rest of the team to be like, let's find whoever is clearly lying, you're kind of like, oh fuck, I really gotta find whoever's like, I gotta find my team. Would you assume this is Reginald as you?
Nope, because I don't know anything about spooky balloon body guy.
Okay, so having no knowledge of this being a scheme, then you are legitimately looking for him. Tyler, are you worried that Fluffy somehow survived your vicious assault?
I think so, only because Quinny has no idea what Fluffy's deal is. For him to have deflated into a skin bag, like he could be like some kind of ghost or some sort of... Tom, help me out here. Was it like a walking vapor or something like that from Ghostbusters? What was it?
Yeah, I believe it was a free floating apparition, possibly. But yeah, shooty ghost. Yeah, or the guy who's just missed from Hellboy. All possible options.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really interesting. Shit. Okay, so then can you roll me an investigation check, please, as you begin to actually case the site?
Investigation is better, but I did just roll poo-poo pee-pee caca. That's 10. It's a total of 10.
Okay, so after your initial scan, not seeing anything, you begin to just sort of properly investigate the way you as Quinny would. What does that actually look like when shot through a Reginald body lens?
I think it looks like, Reginald trying to stick to crowds. This is a busy port, is it, or not so much?
Busy in as much as there are a bunch of flesh golems and navy guys standing around. Otherwise, it's just the dockmaster and her two guards.
Okay.
It's relatively small.
I think there is like a weird like sneaking element to the way he moves, just because Quinny is used to moving that way. So stepping lightly, kind of peeking around corners before fully turning the corner and stuff like that. Trying to get the drop on this guy. Yeah, I think that's how he approaches it.
Okay.
It doesn't help that he's now like 6'4".
Yep.
But
wearing armor.
Yeah.
As you approach the crates that are being offloaded, one of the pirate types steps forward and says, "Hey there, champ. Sorry, we're still on offloading. We got strict instructions that no one's supposed to touch the boxes till they're all off the boat."
Oh, yes. Well, of course. Excuse me. I am here investigating the cargo, though. I was sent here by the Lord and Lady of Whelm.
That's fair, but honestly, until all these boxes are fully offloaded and stamped by the station master there, technically, you're not in Weln right now, so just wait your turn there, pal.
Is this guy alone?
There are two other like Navy toughs nearby, but they're not. They're kind of, I think, probably actually dealing with the rest of. I think your entire crew just kind of like walked up to start looking at boxes, and they're kind of like, hey, whoa, hey. They're just people in New York walking, like, hey, oh, hey.
Right. Yeah.
Why?
Because if we were alone enough, I might just make him stop talking forever. But
Why?
You could probably do it. The other thing is, you guys could overwhelm this port if you needed to.
yeah,
Like, you're under orders to technically keep it under wraps, but, like, also, if your fear is that Fluffy is alive and seeking vengeance, possibly, and or seeking to, like, blow your cover...
I think silencing him would, like, be coming in too hot, too fast. So I think it's more of, like, a, what are you going to do about it, man, kind of attitude of, like... We're here. There's a bunch of us. You've got a job to do. I understand that. What he'll actually say is, you can carry on with your business. I'm mainly making sure that no cargo doesn't make it as far as the stamping, if you understand what I mean.
No, all the cargo will be stamped. Yeah, that's how we do
sure.
things.
Yes, you're a pirate, right?
I prefer a Navy privateer, but yeah.
And
Kind of.
I'm sure you understand that privateers and pirates have a certain reputation that comes along with them, right?
Yes, but Falstaff shipping is a very legitimate business. I was instructed as such when I took the job. They said there was to be no pirating of any sort. Very strict.
Well, I think you can understand that I can't take you at your word. And as the Captain General of the Bonecrushers, I have certain authority here.
Okay, well, it's
Especially
cool
with
that you have a
Falstaff.
sports team, but we answer to Falstaff. We don't answer to you.
You know what, pal? I'm just going to keep going. You do whatever you got to do, okay?
He stabs you. What's your AC?
19.
All right, I rolled a 5, so you just hear tink, and you look down, and there's just a knife, like in your gut, but like just against the armor.
For a second, I thought it was another dick.
How big or
Nah,
small
this time
is this guy?
this time it's a compensation dick. Sorry, Tyler, what'd you say?
How big or small is this guy?
He's kind of a burly guy, but probably about 5'6". Like you're looking down at him. He's got a bit of a Bob Hoskins vibe, but if Bob Hoskins like got really into the gym.
Got it. Okay.
His name is Jim Hoskins.
Jim Hoskins. Okay. Has anyone else seen him attack me?
Everyone's like there's a
all like
ruckus
this-
going
yeah.
on now.
Yeah. Okay. Then it's just a matter of like grabbing the hand that tried to stab me and just punching his head until we're like below the eye line of the crates.
All right, go ahead and roll an attack, please.
Nat 1. I'm so good at punching, guys. Nat 1 on both times I've tried punching.
You do get 2 attacks there, bud.
Oh, yeah.
There will be consequences, but
It's an 18 on the die. Is it just strength to add to that?
no, go ahead with your, just like, treat it like a melee attack. So with your proficiency, I assume you have unarmed proficiency given that you're a martial guy. If you don't have proficiency, then yes, it's just strength.
Yeah, no unarmed proficiency. Just
Okay,
simple
that's fine.
Martial weapon. So then 4 on it, so 22 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And what do you want to roll for damage there?
You're doing an unarmed strike, so it's a D4 plus your strength.
Okay. That's six damage.
So you just like crack him in the head. Unfortunately, your first one he dodges, but then you just like throw a haymaker and crack him in the head. But because you rolled a 1, he yelps as he goes down, and you see Kira look over and say, "Oh shit! All right, well I guess we're doing this one." And then she just punches into the chest of the guy in front of her, and then boots him off of her hand, tearing out his heart. And suddenly, all of the Bonecrushers just start murdering. You hear the crunch of boxes as the flesh golems drop them. And then just kind of as one, they turn to look at you, and all of them begin stalking towards the Bonecrushers. So there are 6 flesh golems. Go ahead and roll initiative, please. Ryan, I'm going to get you to roll initiative as well, just so I can tell when you're able to move throughout this.
Awesome. 17 for Reginald inside Quinny.
18.
Okay.
For Quinny inside Reginald.
19, and I'll roll for... That's 19 for BC. And... Interesting. All right. The army of monsters starts stalking towards you. The Bonecrushers are up first. So they are attacking the Navy Guards. Nat 20. So the Navy Guards are wildly outgunned here, and in singing the murder song of the Bonecrusher Regiment, bringing sexy back. They proceed to just start ripping limbs off. It's a bloodbath. The station master is like, "Oh no, my stamps!" And just like starts trying to run, but unfortunately is caught by Clubwing, who just like knocks her against the side of the head, picks her up with one foot, slams her against a wall, and is like, "You're not going anywhere, meow." That's right. That's what Halmer sounds like. None of you bothered to ask, but that's what he sounded like this whole time.
I was afraid to ask.
Yeah, I understand. After Fluffy, that's the correct
Yeah.
call. Right. So Bonecrushers make with the murder. Next up, we have Quinny in Reginald.
Right, that's me. Sorry. That took me a minute.
I'll keep using your player names for ease of work.
Yeah, I think
Tyler,
player names are going to be our answer.
Tyler, it's your turn.
The guy I'm fighting, I'm assuming, took 6 damages and is not like down for the count after.
No, he's starting
chin with my
to
knuckles.
get back up, and now he's like swinging the club that he's got that's an actual weapon rather than his sneaky knife.
Okay. I'll if he's getting up, I'll just grab him by the back of the collar of his shirt, the back part, and just kind of drive his head into a crate to just kind of put him away.
Okay, let's say we'll call this. This is going to be a grapple check. So
Okay.
I believe you're rolling athletics. Is that correct? Anyone
Yeah, I
who's
think
grappled?
so.
Yeah.
I think so.
That feels right.
13.
13. Yeah, that'll do it. He's not that heavily armored. He's not meant to fight armies. Yep. So you grab him. Is your goal to kill him or to stun him?
Stun him or like knock him out.
Okay. So I'm gonna roll a con
I say
save.
just, but it's just driving his head through some wood. Like,
Okay. So yeah, you crash his head through the wood. You push him harder than you expect that you could push people because you're in a much bigger body. So yeah, you just plow him into the wood. There's like a puff of sawdust, and he stops moving.
okay, I'm gonna stand up on top of one of the crates, sort of almost like a stage to get just as the attention of as many of the people here at the at the docks. And Ryan, let me know if I need to do anything special here, but I'd like to use a blood curse.
Okay, which one are you trying to use? We got 3.
Blood curse of the anxious.
Blood curse of the anxious will only work against an individual.
One creature. Oh, within okay. I thought it was a bunch of people within 30 feet of me. Okay, never mind.
No, sadly. No, he's basically, all of his stuff falls into like a duelist category.
Got it, okay. In that case, I will still climb up on top of the box because now subtlety's kind of going out the window. So I'm just looking for, because I have a higher vantage point, I'm holding up the lens to try and find this thing from like a distance and just kind of scanning for it.
Okay, let's go with, I think we're doing investigation again, just because that seems like that's what this would be. I would also give you insight.
Let me check. I think it's
Investigation.
investigation.
His wisdom skill's garbage.
Oh, insight is wisdom, yeah.
He's no butthole fart. R.I.P.
His wisdom score is 8. It's a minus.
Ooh.
13 plus 8,
22?
21.
21, thanks.
We were all close. Ryan was closest.
I'm gifted in other ways.
So yeah, you managed to see it again, kind of over by the ship. Unfortunately, there are 3 flesh golems between you and the box.
Great. I just want to know where it is so that if any of the bad guys, my team, gets close to it, I can stop them from doing that.
Amazing. For the just for ease of our kind of theater of the mind, we're going to say that this dock is sort of a long rectangle. The crate and the ship are in the top left corner, which is where Reginald, where Ryan is now, as Reginald, as Quinny, as Fluffy. But yes, so three golems protecting that. The rest of the fight is kind of happening around the perimeter, and the other 3 flesh golems are kind of marching out to assist.
I think having seen the Dockmaster go down and being invisible, he's off stilts and he's not wearing that hat anymore. He could just be Quinny.
Okay.
He's not going to fool any of the regulars.
Gotcha. Okay, yes. So you have eyes on that. You've taken your action. You've taken your move. So with the knowledge of the crate's location in mind, the combat continues. Next up, we have Ryan.
I got to get to that crate, baby.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
invisible, but I got to go.
Roll that stealth, please.
Are the golems still with me, or have they all headed for the docks?
There are 3 that are guarding the box. You've moved past them. They're the ones who are carrying that crate you slid under so cool. They're not looking your direction, but they are like planting to protect protect the cargo and the ship.
Is this a straight one, or do I have advantage because they're planted?
You have advantage because you're invisible
Nice.
in this particular instance. And yes, they aren't looking for it. It's different than running past them.
And that is 30.
Okay. You reach the crate. Sure enough, your glowing eye shows you a faint sigil. And is your goal to leave with the crate or to loot the crate?
How heavy is it? I feel like I'd touch the bottom to see if I could loot what's in it, or if it's so heavy that we got to carry it as like a box.
It's uncomfortably heavy. It is. You can lug it, but it will be a challenge. Like you can pull the machine out, but it's basically, if you think about like the big stupid spinning Game of Thrones intro thing, imagine kind of a similar thing like that, where it's kind of a bunch of honestly, it's what do they call them in Warhammer? It's like the Iron Crown or whatever, where it's just like a big spiky.
Oh, the Iron Halo, yeah.
Iron Halo. It's kind of like that if there were a bunch of other kind of, so like think an arced semicircle headband kind of piece with several other metallic bands under it that when fully extended would kind of cover the top half of a head. And all of them have weird spiky bits and needles and gross things on them. So it's
Okay.
made of like heavy metal, and it unfortunately when you pick it up, all of those swinging pieces inside kind of all spill out in a awkward fan of heavy metal. But it is carryable. It's not like a massive like thing.
Okay, then yeah. I want to get it to because I've got my 3 team steel shit are on their way, and I think if between Lyndon and I we can lug it as quietly and sneakily as possible, and then we've got our two quote unquote thugs, Bud and Guy, who can try to slow down flesh golems and not be murdered if we get spotted.
Okay, so you gesture. Are you going to drop your invisibility to gesture to Lyndon?
Yeah, I have to.
Okay, so Lyndon like comes running. Dice starts to run, and then he sees that you're just gesturing to her, and he kind of nods to himself, and then he turns around, and he just yells, and out of his sleeves, caltrops just fly in every direction. No one's near him, so it doesn't have much of an effect. But they rain down upon him, and it's a real like now you see me moment where everything's in slow mo and overly dramatic. And then all the caltrops just kind of like rain down on him and around him. And he's like, "Oh fuck!" And then he starts running after Lyndon.
Cool.
But they are on their way, which brings us to the flesh golems. So Tyler, one is close enough to reach you to kind of approach the boxes. And it's just going to grab for your leg and try and just fucking yank you down and off. So we're going to do an opposed strength check.
Like a grapple thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I got a 7, so congratulations.
Yeah. I got a little bit more than that.
Okay, how do you evade it?
He did get his hand on me. I'm going to jerk my leg up out of his grip and then step down on the wrist.
Oh, gross. So you step down on the wrist and you hear a sickening crunch. And as the flesh golem drags it out, you can see it kind of stretch, and there's like tendons and really stretched out stitches. And eventually the hand just comes off under your foot. And the flesh golem doesn't seem to notice because they're monsters.
Yeah.
Cool. Does it get... Okay. Since it failed with that, it's just going to try and punch you in the shin as hard as it can. Your AC is 19.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a nat 20. That's nice for me. Bad for you, but nice for me. So that's... that will be 11 points of damage. So not a whole lot. It's just a punch in the shin. You're wearing armor. But still, it hits hard enough that it hurts.
Right.
Meanwhile, they're going to attack the other members of your team. So currently, the Bonecrushers are holding their own rather effectively. That said, one of them goes after good old Clubwing, trying to get the station master free, and just kind of he starts like doing his like weird acrobatic like capoeira style like acrobatic fight, and the flesh golem just walks up, grabs him by the head, and just cranks back at a 90-degree angle. So you hear a snap, and he goes limp, and the station master is released and slides down. It's like, thank you, beautiful monstrosity, thank you. So we've got one Bonecrusher down.
Okay.
Okay. That brings us to top of the round. Bonecrushers. They're gonna take attacks on the flesh golem. Unfortunately, they're having a hard time. They don't manage to hit, so they're just kind of all locked in close combat, or they are hitting and they're just flesh golems. So it's like you whack it with a hammer and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
But they're pretty locked up at the moment. Bringing us to Tyler.
Are there any Navy or pirates still at the docks fighting?
They were all immediately slaughtered by the Bonecrushers.
Okay. Then I will. I'll jump back down among the crates and try to hide.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a stealth check, please.
You have disadvantage due to your armor.
But he also has advantage due to his Quinny senses, so he's actually just rolling at a straight.
That's okay. It's a 4.
All right.
It's 4.
You crouch, and it's perfect, except that you're used to crouching as someone much smaller, so the instinct is correct. And then you're kind of like down, and you look to your left and realize you can see over the boxes, and it's a real disappointing moment.
Cool.
Do you want to use your move for anything? You still got a bit of move. Do you want to head towards the boxes, or are you just trying to? What's the goal right now for Quinny?
I need to wait and see how the golems versus Bonecrushers thing plays out. So I'll use the rest of my move to go prone, ensuring I am below the eye line.
Very nice. You press and hold triangle rather than tapping it, and down you go. Great. Okay. And sorry, just so I'm clear on your intent, is your goal to let them fight in the hopes that the golems will solve your Bonecrusher problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
If that's an option. Also, if they start to overpower the golems and start making their way towards the box or anything like that, I want to like kick it into the bay or whatever, like just like make it so that we can't have it.
Right. Of course.
Like, yeah.
I got caught up in the fiction that you were on Team Evil for a moment.
No, it's like no.
One or
I need
two
to
things
make
are
sure
going
the
on.
Bonecrushers don't get it, so it's just like
Understood.
I'm not really putting up much of an effort to help them. So yeah, honestly, I was going to go after Hailmer because he was kind of the one question mark in terms of like I don't know where his loyalty lies, but that question has been
Good
answered.
work, man. Good turn.
Yeah.
Good turn.
Yeah. So
Killed him
that's
with
fine.
your mind. Amazing. All right, Ryan.
Great. We got to get this shit to the boat. I got team stealing shit on the way. Like, where's my boat at? Where's my boy? What's his name? Tren?
Yep. I'm gonna need you to roll me a sleight of hand check to see if Tren managed to get a boat.
Oh, yeah. Tren fucked up at the beginning, but Tren just got 29.
So after his failed attempt to leave in a cool way, Tren just let his naturally stooped posture return, and he just kind of like walked along and he kicked a pebble, then he kicked it again, and then the third time he kicked it, he accidentally kicked it too hard, and it bounced and off into the water, and it was a really good kick and pebble, so he was pretty excited about it. So he shuffles after it to see where it landed. And lo and behold, he sees a swan boat with champagne and like rose petals in it, and hears the sweet sounds of lovemaking nearby, and he realizes that the swan boat actually has a pedal motor, so it actually goes a bit faster than rowing, and so. Taking, as teenage creepers will like to do, a moment to observe what's going on, take some mental notes. He then leaps dramatically into the boat, and he's like, finally, Tren's allure is a cool guy. And he slams on his sunglasses and begins to just pedal as hard as he fucking can with his little gnome legs as this swan boat very slowly begins to move. Which means that when you and Lyndon carrying this like heavy fucking box look to the water, for a moment there's nothing, and you're horrified, and then heroically the head of a swan comes around the corner, followed by a boat, and Tren just like pedaling as hard as he can, because as you know, swan boats don't really go fast no matter how hard you work. It's just like, that's right, Tren, it's the lore, save the day, super cool guy, and he throws up off the side of the boat. He's like, oh, super cool guy, I did it.
All right, so then it's just load shit, like get the box into the boat, get the crew onto the boat, to throw up the Eldritch Blast to the sky to let the other gnomes know to like bug out.
You hear Kira yell, Warlock! Everybody down! And
Already down. Perfect.
Yep. Everyone hits the deck while still fighting flesh golems. Ryan, I'm going to need an athletics check from you, because as you fall into the boat, you realize that with the additional weight, there's no fucking way Tren's allure is going to be able to pedal you to safety, given that he is already throwing up from the exertion. And as I think a Reginald brain in a Quinny body, the idea of like, oh, you need a strong man to pedal a boat? I'm your guy, is still clear and present.
Yeah, that's a grand total of 2.
So you start pedaling, and oh my god, it's so heavy. This is much heavier. So you're getting away, but you're drifting away.
And then I'm like, oh no, this is bad. Okay, here's the deal. Bud and Guy, both of you take 1 pedal. You're really strong. I need you to do this. And give it over to the 2 crab and goiliest of the gnomes to coordinate their pedal together.
They turn to each other and like, you ready, Bud? He's like, I'm ready, Guy. You ready, Guy? I'm ready, Bud. 2, 3, pedal. And then they just start awkwardly, like very awkwardly, like step pedaling. It's kind of like they're trying to do like a jug song hootenanny dance, but you are correct. They've got beefy legs. So the swan boat picks up speed and disappears into the night. After a couple moments of no warlock, Tyler, you realize that even though you can play it off like you hit the deck first, if you're not giving orders and Kira's giving orders, things are going bad. What do you do to try and regain control of the situation?
I guess I'll get up and start wailing on golems.
Okay.
The first one I can find. Because my thinking is like, if Kira's taking control of the situation and we fail, that's really good for me.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of inclined to just let it play out. But I don't want to be found out that I was like hiding or anything like that.
You're truly living the Reginald life right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can safely say that with kind of the swirl of chaos and everything else, you and the Bonecrushers are able to make short work of the golems when you're kind of combining your efforts.
Yeah, I will be sort of like patrolling like through the columns created by these cargo boxes, and anytime I find like a downed golem, I'm gonna grab it just through like the chaos of the fight, just drag it back to a specific spot and just keep adding golems to that pile, and then I'm just gonna stand over it with my flaming warhammer and like breathe heavily.
Can you roll a deception check, please? I'll give you advantage because the circumstances you've set up are actually somewhat believable.
I rolled 13 twice, plus deception, 15.
15? All right, everyone finally comes rushing around the corner, and you hear footsteps, so you get your heavy breathing ready. What do you say as they round the bend?
I'll pick up, the golems the flesh golems are completely human-shaped.
Yeah, they're like Frankenstein monsters. They're a little misshapen here and there, but yeah.
I'll just try to yank one of the heads that has been like stitched to a different body, kind of thing. Just yank it up. So I'm just holding a head. I just hold it up and I just scream out, "For the Horde!" And then I touchdown spike it as they come around.
And they all yell, "Horde touchdown!" They're like, "Oh, Reginald, you never played headball with us before, but seems like you're really good." And then Dakin is like,
because while you were playing headball, I mastered the blade, and I gestured to the pile of corpses.
It's like, Draken is like, "Oh wow, he mastered the blade and the hammer. He's pretty cool. You're a cool guy, Reginald. I don't think I ever told you that, but this is impressive." And there's like mumbling, and like Junpei is like actively not engaging in this because he doesn't want to come across as like two on your team's like, "I don't know, I've done better," and then he with his like fresh scar kind of like winks at you. And Kira looks between the pile, kind of glares at you, not being 100% sure that you did this, because like there's one that's missing a heart, and she kind of like looks at her bloody hand and she's like, but everyone else is really on board, and she's kind of like, "Yeah."
So while I was pulling my weight over here, were you all able to secure the cranial fulcrum?
Only you were able to know which box it was in there, Chief. Which one was it in?
Well, I was busy fighting off all of these golems, so it must still be here then, if you didn't let anyone make off with any crates, right, Kira?
No, I was too busy killing golems.
It looks
could've
like
sworn
I
there were
was too
only
busy
6.
killing golems, Kira.
And they're all like, yeah, Kira, come on. He took a trophy, as is our way. Looks like he was the one keeping it sexy, and he truly did bring sexy back to these assholes. And Kira's like, it's just a full Marge Simpson, like, which says, fine, I'll go check. Where did you say it was again?
I didn't say where it was, Kira.
Oh, could you tell me where it is?
Here,
you have the
take
magic
this,
monocle.
and I'll like flip the lens over to her. Be like, you
She
need to
catches
find
it.
a mark somewhere on one of the corners of the boxes.
Fine. I bet I'll find it fast. And then she starts like checking all the corners like fucking Sherlock Holmes and looks completely ridiculous. There's a slight smile on her face, and you get the sense that in a different world she might really be into puzzles. Okay. So she keeps like checking boxes. But there are a lot of boxes, and the box is no longer there. And with that, you kind of fold your arms and observe a horde job kind of done. Meanwhile, Juniper, you have kind of rounded this nice kind of less a farm and kind of a very small ranch house. And you can hear the sawing of wood, and as you come around the corner, you can see that in the field behind the ranch house, there's clearly like a little workshop set up. There's what was probably meant to be a stable that's so it's open, but has a bunch of tools and odd instruments. But perhaps most notably of all, there is a sort of a large wooden vehicle of some sort that's kind of got looks to be kind of like a small rounded seat, and then 2 kind of big, massive wings. The one of which is like half built, but just kind of think like almost dragonfly wings if they were made of wood. As you come around, you see a man with kind of a small black goatee, slightly graying hair, wearing a carpenter's apron, and just sitting there sawing away at some wood at a sawhorse.
I just kind of walk up, wave my hand, greetings.
And he's like, sorry, I couldn't hear you over the sawing.
No, I apologize for startling you.
Oh, that's quite all right. And he kind of looks you up and down, and you can see his shoulders drop a bit. And he says, what can I help you with? You seem like an adventurer type.
Very astute. And I kind of like pull up my map and like, well, this is where I'm supposed to be.
And you notice that you kind of like look to the name on the map, and as soon as he sees you pull out the map, he's like, "Yeah, you're. I'm afraid you're a little late. I think for who you're looking for. One of the folks from the Candlekeep send you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Were you waiting for me?
No. I'm afraid you're here. You're here for my brother, and he passed away a little while back. But I might be able to help you a little bit. But I'm afraid, suspect you've come to be disappointed. But who knows? Maybe I can help you out. My name's Mishra, and you're certainly welcome here. Come on, pull up a chair. Let me tell you about Urza. So as you pull up a chair, he kind of waves his hand to the ranch house, and a small automaton comes out that's kind of like whirring and clicking, and kind of like carrying a shaky tray of sort of a cool, like a sort of probably like a small urn of water and a few glasses. And he says, please, have a seat. What's your name?
I'm Juniper. I extend my hand.
He takes off his glove and shakes your hand. Says, Juniper, it's a pleasure to meet you. And let me guess, you're here about Planeswalkin, is that right?
I am. How did you know?
And he kind of chuckles and says, "Okay, how much do you know about all this? Am I the first stop on your tour, or do you know about other places?"
Oh yeah, I'm from another place.
Okay. All right. Well,
I mean, I don't know much though. I mean,
that's fine. That'll save us a lot of time.
okay.
So as you sit down, he kind of like eases himself into a seat. You notice that there is a third chair that he kind of shoots a glance to a little bit longingly. And the vibe you're getting is very much like two people who have lived alone in each other's presence for a long time. And when one of them's gone, there's just that weird kind of like, this feels uncomfortable. But he says, okay, well, so you're from another place, so you get that. It would seem that my brother and I have counterparts somewhere else as well. Are you familiar with this phenomenon, the idea of multiple versions of people?
Oh yeah.
So my brother Urza was always fascinated by this idea. I don't know how it got into his head, but he became fascinated with the idea of different dimensions and different planes. And he did a fair amount of traveling. Me, I just kind of stayed here at the workshop. But every time he left, he came back with better and better ideas. He kept saying he kept finding inspiration for them elsewhere. He'd find notes that people had left who had managed to see these other places. And like this guy over here, it's called an ornithopter. It's a wild creation. It lets you fly, if you can imagine that, without magic.
Like a glider?
Kind of, but it creates...
Like an airship?
It creates locomotion, so you can actually get up off the ground with it. You don't need to just glide. Yeah. It'll get you up into the air.
But not an airship.
Okay, all right, very good. Well, this is a much more basic version of that, but one that you can build yourself without large magics.
Didn't airships come from? Don't they come from here?
Yes, but airships are developed by several engineers over a long span of time. When was the last time you saw one person pedal a ship and have it fly?
Oh, okay, good point. I that seemed like a step up from what you're showing me. Sorry, it's great. It's great.
Okay, well, you know what? If you know how to build an airship,
no, I don't know how to build it. I've just.
Oh no, please be my guest. I've got a whole workshop.
I'm trying to sort out like what's coming from where and.
I understand. Look, this is from here. I built this. It's not magic.
Okay.
I built it. Good with wood. Okay. Well, look. One day I was out here working on it, and I saw a pair of gleaming eyes watching me. You live kind of out here away from people long enough, you start to get kind of worried. I mean, you seem like a nice lady, but you showed up with a giant sword, and that's, vaguely concerning. So needless to say, I was a little worried. So I sent my little bot here to keep an eye on it. And sure enough, after a couple days, he chased a guy out of the trees. Been watching me for days. And lo and behold, it was Urza. But a different Urza. He seemed older, more traveled, more weathered. His eyes had a gleam to them. I almost feel like they were stone. They weren't flesh. And he wore this incredible coat of many colors. He loved that coat of many colors. But he
dazzling.
Yeah, maybe like really hardcore bedazzling. But anyway, wow. He confessed that he wasn't from here either. And that he wasn't my brother from here. He was my brother from elsewhere. And he called himself a planeswalker, a person who can move between the realms. It seems that in his world, things didn't go so well between between siblings. He killed his me, and it would seem that when he found us here, I guess he was enjoying a little glimpse into what could have been. I actually ended up having tea with him a few times. He came back once or twice more. I haven't seen him in years, though. I suspect he's passed on. Never told Urza about it. Didn't want to worry.
Okay, but might be alive.
It's possible, but it's also worth noting he's not the only one of his kind. There are a lot of these folks out there. But he'd been all over the place. He's from a place called Dominera, if you've heard of that. I don't know if that's where you're from.
No.
All right. Well, there's lots, multiverse,
okay.
and all that. But he said one of the jobs of Planeswalkers was to make sure that the realms remained intact. That there was a very delicate balance to this world, and if you ever had upset that, it could really fuck things up for all of us here. In fact, he was pretty salty about the Ornithopter. I guess that was a real point of contention between him and his brother in his realm. But what can I say?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out is like why everything's breaking down.
Right. Well, the way he described it, Planeswalkers, they have something called a spark. And he said that usually through a major event, some kind of life event or major trauma, in his case, when he killed me, the spark is awakened. And then through sheer force of will, these Planeswalker folks, they can just shift into another space entirely. But it's natural. It's all natural. It's all part of the weave, the spell weave that kind of keeps all the magic energies of the world together. So if you imagine it this way, it's like when they do that, they know exactly the spots you can get through the weave. So it's easy enough for them to just slip between the worlds. It doesn't cause any damage. It's fine. But it would seem that there's a lot of folks out there who are trying to rip their way through, who see the benefit of what the Planeswalkers have seen. Can you imagine? I mean, look at this fucking thing. I built this thing without having any idea about aviation because Urza found papers from somewhere else and I built it. I mean, you must have seen stuff like this, right? Do you think airships are really from here? Because I feel like that technology is probably from somewhere else, and I feel like someone got their hands on it. You'd be considered a genius or a god. You could be an idiot. But if you go to a smarter place and come back with something, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
Given
who
ran the airship. And, yeah, anyways.
Gotcha. All that going to say that there's a lot of people out there who don't want to visit other places. They want to rape and pillage other places. They want to take all the good from elsewhere, or they hate their own world so much they're just trying to leave. Urza said, well, not my Urza, other spooky eye Urza, big guy Urza said he'd seen a number of people who were just trying to leave. Escape after destroying their own worlds, just go find somewhere else to take up residence. So, anyway, the Planeswalkers are supposed to stop that, but there's not that many of them, and there sure are a lot of assholes out there, at least that's been my experience. Apparently I was one, so, whoops. Don't know if you apologize for your alternate dimension self, but here we are.
I don't think that's necessary.
Well, great. So, you're trying to, stop the people getting through? You're trying to become a Planeswalker? What's your deal?
No, I'm just trying to make sure that everything doesn't become a jumbled mess.
Yeah, that's, I'd support you in that.
Just like all the worlds suddenly, like, I don't know, becoming on top of each other?
I mean, that does sound shitty. Admittedly, again, the other version of me sounded like a real asshole, and I wouldn't want to meet him, because he'd probably just kill me, and that would suck. So,
I know.
I get that. Can you roll a persuasion check there, Laura?
Yeah.
I will warn you, this is a rather high DC.
10. Oh, I'll use my inspiration.
Roll extra hard.
So that was persuasion?
Yep.
17.
So close. It was 19. So he seems to be pleasant, but you get the sense that he's holding back a bit. He's a little unsure of you, and kind of what you're about. You realize, having failed to persuade him just with kind of your force of being, that you might need to find a way to persuade him using what you've got. So I want you, as we cut back to these dudes, to consider. Actually, we probably won't cut back to these dudes this episode, but I want you to consider, what do you think Juniper would use to try and convince Mishra that she's on the level?
I mean, I think I kind of start like pulling out, like, I have like a holy symbol that's like an oak leaf that's like representing like my oath to the ancients. I have like an amulet of amber that's like, look, this is the like, reminds me of like the light in me. And then I have this scroll which has been like guiding me places and guided me to Candlekeep. There's like, look, I've been traveling a long time, and I met a lot of people, and no one seems to be giving me any answers. And I've been tasked with like making sure that the entire world is like happy and that people are all good and everything's the way it's supposed to be and people aren't like destroying each other and that the worlds aren't destroying each other and that people aren't destroying the tears in the world and messing everything up. And what can I do to convince you?
He says, look, I'm sure I'm hearing the word I a lot there, so I'm not really sure how altruistic this is. What's the thing you care about the most in this world?
The thing I care about most is just, people.
And he kind of laughs and he's like, really? Because most people I've met are assholes. That's why I live out here like a hermit.
Yeah, but that's because most people have been affected by like war and poverty and assholes traveling dimensions and messing stuff up. And if everyone had like a shot at happiness, they'd be way better people. These worlds colliding is just not giving anyone the chance.
And he kind of nods and smiles and he says, I really wish you could have met Urza. I think he would have liked you quite a bit. All right. I got something for you. It was meant for him, but never quite made it to him. I just hope you're the right person to give it to. And he kind of nods to the automaton box, who kind of like wanders over, and its chest opens, and inside there is a beautifully ornate sort of gold. It's sort of like a blue orb with kind of gold leaf up and around it. It almost looks like a little tiny globe, and it's clearly locked. Like there's a lock on it, and there's clearly a lid. He takes it out and says, "This the other Urza gave this to me and said if ever got into trouble, might be a way to find him, or at least to find someone who could help." I'm pretty content here in the woods, just talking to people from Candlekeep every few months. But maybe this could help you on your way. But I should warn you, this is probably a one-way ticket. So best wrap up any business you got here before we open it. I've been calling it my magic teapot. I'm kind of excited to see what's inside.
One-way ticket to where?
Honestly, Juniper, I have no fucking idea.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our fantastic DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode was edited by Ryan LaPlante, and all of Dum-Dums and Dice's art is by Decapitated Markers, or at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. That's MRKR. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDUMBDICE. And tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Olin Anderson, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord Abradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Zekin X, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumbdumbdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.